Joe? Hi, guys.
How are you? Hi, Annie.
Okay, guys, start lugging it.
Unload it.
Come on, today.
What's the big hurry today, Annie?
I'm always in a big hurry, you know that.
What's your husband say about that?
Terrific. The sooner the better.
I'll bet it's terrific. Woo.
Moose, you'll be calling for help. Come on, Dreamin' won't get this stuff next.
Easy now, Ralph. Easy. Get a stretcher. Get some help.
How long have you had this cough, Mr. Willis?
I don't know, about a year, I guess.
No, it's been more than a year, Doctor. I have been trying to get him to come here since a year ago last Christmas.
All right, May.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm over at Bolden and Rupp. For more than 20 years. I'm a chemical mixer in Section C.
Have you ever seen a doctor about this before?
Oh, only the one at the plant.
If you can call him a doctor.
Dr. Carlisle and I are good friends. He happens to be a fine physician. How many times did you see him?
Just a couple of times when I didn't feel so good on a job.
And what did he have to say?
He just kept asking about my smoking. I told him I don't smoke anymore. I quit. Then the next time I went, he asked me again.
Well, that's when I started begging him to see another doctor.
I want you to go over to Bolin Memorial Hospital and see a Dr. Garaji. He's in the respiratory unit. Call his office as soon as you can for an appointment, okay?
Okay.
Can you take care of him?
Of course I can. I want to get Dr. Garajian's test results first.
Dr. Latimer phoned. He wants to know if you're free for tennis at 1.
How are we doing out there?
6 more.
Anything serious?
No one that should take too long.
Call Harry Carlisle. If he's playing tennis today, get him to bring Ralph Willis's medical records to the club. I want to get a better idea what that cough's all about.
What do you say, Franklin?
Hello, Harry.
It's Wednesday afternoon. What's a private practitioner like you doing around here?
Playing hookie's what I'm doing. Figured I'd show Freddie Lattimore how to play tennis.
Freddie Lattimore, huh? Big Fred, go to play tennis? Little tip, you plays backhand, you got him.
So I heard. Harry, did you bring those records with you?
What?
Oh, didn't my nurse call you and ask you to bring Ralph Willis's medical records?
Oh, yeah, she did. That's right. The only trouble is they don't exist anymore.
Don't you keep those things?
Well, we had a fire at the plant 6, 7 months ago, and we lost some important filing cabinets. Why, is Ralph? Ralph's sick?
He's got this hacking cough. Looks like it may be serious.
Oh, listen. Ralph's had that cough ever since I've known him. It's chronic.
You recall if you did any tests on him?
No, I don't think we did, Frank. The reason I know that is because my office only treats people who get hurt or sick occupation, you see.
Well, thanks anyway.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear Ralph's sick. He's a good man.
See you.
And I'm telling you that the entire medical association needs restructuring. And as a county officer...
Mel, this is my first year on the board. I'm going to do a lot of listening and very little speaking.
But that's downright reactionary of you, Frank, and I voted for you.
See how important it is to have an informed electorate?
Respiratory therapist, extension 20817.
I say this with unadulterated envy, but Dr. Garagian seems to be up to his old tricks again.
No. This trick seems to be brand new.
Dr. Archer, operating room, 575.
Oh, Frank.
I thought you promised me no one under 20.
Operating room, 575.
She turned 22 days ago.
Really?
Frank, listen, about that patient that you sent over last week.
Willis?
Right, him. I'm just doing the workup, and you'll probably have it in your hands by tomorrow.
How's it look?
Dr. Adams.
Guy has a mass in his lung about the size of a golf ball. Everything indicates a malignancy there, and quite advanced, too, in my opinion.
I was afraid of that.
You'll want a bronchoscopy to confirm, right?
Yeah, let's get one scheduled.
Might take some time.
As soon as you can, okay? Mr. Willis, the tests we've done so far indicate that in the lower left lobe of your lung, you've got a growth, a mass, right here. Now, we don't know what this growth is. So, what we want you to do is undergo what's known as a bronchoscopy.
What the devil is that?
Well, it's a relatively simple procedure, and it allows us to take out a piece of lung tissue and analyze it.
See, I told you I never should have started all this.
Ralph.
Look, Mr. Willis, we want to find out exactly what's wrong with you, and that way we can treat it.
I got lung cancer. That's what I got.
Whoa, 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 whoa. First things first. We don't know what it is you've got.
From the day I met him, I said, don't smoke.
Well, I did quit, didn't I?
How long has it been?
11 years.
Well, why?
If you stop smoking, after 10 years, there's no greater risk of getting cancer than if you never smoked at all.
Can I keep on working?
Absolutely. I want you to keep taking that medication.
Yeah. Sure.
Doctor.
We're going to help her, Mrs. Willis. We're going to help her. Okay? Thursday. Yeah, I can make it. I'll have to shift a few things around, but I'll make it. Okay, Doctor. We'll see you then. Bye.
Oh, they've put you on another subcommittee. Darling, you're going to end up being the staunchest AMA man in town.
Don't knock it, honey. It'd make us very rich and very happy. Not necessarily in that order, however.
Silly me. I thought we were happy now. Or do we require a bigger house, a newer car before we achieve nirvana?
Aha. The campus radical reemerges.
Only at those times when you begin to confuse your priorities, Frank. And as for my being a campus radical, that is exactly what attracted an old-line fuddy-duddy like you in the first place.
Oh, I think you had a few other things going for you.
Had? Past tense?
Had, and always will have.
Don't we both hope and pray?
Did you know doctors' wives keep their looks a lot longer than other women?
Oh, where did you get this scientific fact?
I read Fear of Flying.
So did I. And for better or worse, I am not your average Erica Jean.
Well, it's just gonna have to make do.
Now or after dinner?
Dinner and heaven can wait. Come here.
Oh, I almost forgot. A new patient phoned to make an appointment to see you. He was so insistent that I took the liberty of making it for 5:30 tomorrow.
Why?
Because he works until 5.
Why did he call here?
He seemed very agitated, said it was extremely important that he see you.
Let me see. Michael Powers. Where's he from?
Bolin and Rupp.
A naming? Me?
Yep. That's why I've been feeling so tired lately, Mr. Powers. Now we have to find out what's causing it. Why don't you put your shirt back on?
Amy, is that some kind of blood disease?
I'm going to give you a prescription, and I'm going to have my nurse give you a list of food I want you to start eating.
Yeah, Willis told me you'd take good care of me, Doc.
Is that Ralph Willis?
Yeah,
You know him well?
sure. Ralph and I worked in Section C for over 8 years.
You do the same kind of work he does at Bolin?
Now, Ralph is what you call a chemical mixer. See, I'm a mover. I move the material around.
What kind of material is that?
Chemicals. We mix methanol with a couple other things, and that we get what you call DNNB. This DNNB is what does the trick to make all these resin compounds.
Have you been to see Dr. Carlisle about this?
No, this ain't work-related.
Let me ask you something. Have any of the other people in Section C been ill lately? Tiredness like yourself, or lung sickness, anything like that?
Yeah, about a year ago in our section. Terry Mazzello. He gets something in his lungs and he dies.
And what did Dr. Carlisle say?
He said he had a bad heart. You know, we never did find out what that thing was on his lungs.
Is that with one Z?
Why don't you try two?
Okay. Did he die here in the hospital?
Probably. Just curious about the diagnosis.
You're curious, and I've got a load of work which I neglect to plow through these old files.
Hey, by the way, what about that Willis bronchoscopy?
Probably Thursday. We're really tight here at the moment.
Ben, the man is sick. That's too long to wait. His pictures look pretty bad. I want to know what's happening.
As soon as possible. That okay?
Okay.
Ah, what do you know? It was with two Z's. Arturo Pasquale Mazzello. All right, Frank. Now, what's this all about?
I don't know. I'm probably going right off the deep end with this thing. But something's bothering me. I think.
Mazzello. Oh, yeah, sure, I remember him. He worked here for years and years. Nice guy, but as I recall, he drank like a fish, he smoked like a chimney. Chased the women, I remember, because I told him it'd all kill him one day if he didn't stop. And it did. Not a bad way to go, though, huh?
He died of lung cancer, Harry.
Ah.
I have his hospital file here.
Well, the man's dead, Frank. What's the file for?
Oh, you must have seen him a few years back when the malignancy was forming.
Yeah, I did. I saw him. But that file went up in the fire.
That was some convenient fire.
Hey, Frank, come on. What are you getting at?
Anthony Mazzello's hospital record indicates his lung cancer was of the oat cell type.
Well, am I supposed to have some kind of explosive reaction to that or what?
Harry, you and I know only a third of the cancer associated with smoking is oat cell. Usually it's squamous cell.
Well, possibly the smoking killed him, Frank. Possibly not. I mean, how can we tell? I mean, after the fact, Frank, how can we know?
We can't. We never will.
Well,
but Harry, I'm suspicious this cancer is occupationally related.
no.
Mazzello is dead. Ralph Willis is seriously ill. And there's another man, Powers. He's on the edge of something.
You know, we have over 100 other workers in Section C. 100. And all comparatively healthy, Frank.
Everyone's healthy until they get sick, Harry.
Don't patronize me, Frank.
I'm sorry, Harry. Just looking for help with the patient.
Well, you're looking in the wrong place.
I hope so. For both our sakes.
The only hope they've had in years, what am I supposed to tell him?
Tell him my office hours, for one thing, and for another thing, tell him you're no longer arranging my appointments to satisfy your dormant social consciousness.
Oh, cheap shot, Frank. Anyway, they were supposed to be here early enough not to interfere with your golf game.
I'm sorry, but that's not the point. I don't want them interfering with my life, period.
Okay, you're right. I promise it will never happen again.
Look, Susan, I know how you feel about these people, and I appreciate it. I do. I just don't feel the same way about them.
Oh, believe me, Frank, I am not trying to radicalize you.
Now, that would be a lost cause.
Oh, there they are. Good morning.
Morning.
Please come in.
This is Tim Kramer, Doctor. He works at Bolton, too.
Mr. Kramer?
How do you do?
Mr. Willis, did Dr. Garagian get in touch with you?
Yes, he tells me I have to have more x-rays.
Uh-huh.
I'm going back Monday.
Good.
I'll get some coffee.
Oh, no. Please, ma'am, don't bother.
Oh, it's no trouble, really.
Gentlemen, have a seat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, Doctor, I called because, well, I never heard of a private doctor in this city going to see Carlisle. And I said to myself, this Dr. Duffy, I gotta meet.
I went to see Harry Carlisle to get some medical information. Don't for a minute mistake my intentions.
He's a company man, a rubber stamp. Whatever they tell him to do about plant safety, he does.
Dr. Carlisle is a friend of mine, Mr. Kramer, and he's a good doctor. Now, while you're in this house, you can keep your opinions about him to yourself, okay?
You tried to get some medical records from Carlisle, and he said they were burned, right?
Are you saying they weren't?
No, if they were, it's my hunch that he burned them himself.
Kramer, I don't want to listen to that.
You can never get any medical records out of them. They don't want anyone inspecting them, especially of Section C.
How do you know that?
In less than 20 years, our own records show that in Section C, 15 men and women died. Some of them from lung cancer. Here.
15 people die in 20 years. What does that prove? Absolutely nothing.
Look, everyone in Section C that's working on this chemical that they make, this DNNB, thinks that it's doing something to them.
Doing something? That's hardly a medical term.
You saw Tony Mazzella's hospital record, I hear.
That's a single case of a special kind of CA, a special kind of cancer.
Doctor, look, if you'd help us, if you just work with us, maybe we could dig up some other records from hospitals, from doctors.
Kramer, I'm very busy with my practice.
If you mean with patients like Ralph, you might have a lot more like him if something's not done.
We even heard once the company started getting worried about what was happening. And they looked into it on the QT.
Nothing ever came of that either.
Come on, fellas. Why would a company like Bolin, part of a conglomerate as large as CBC, deliberately suppress health information?
Bolden doesn't even have to pay a dime to anybody who dies while working in C. Not work-related deaths, they say.
Petty cash to CBC.
Well, it'd cost them a lot more than petty cash to find out why this is happening and then to change it.
I don't believe any of this, gentlemen. I'm sorry. I just can't buy it.
Coffee's ready.
It's too late, hon. We're finished.
Thank you for your time, Doctor.
Kramer, if you ever get any real hard medical evidence, I'd be happy to look it over.
The only one who could get us any real hard medical evidence is you.
Why me?
Because so far you're the only doctor who's even taken the time to ask if there is a problem. And believe me, Dr. Duffy, there is a problem.
My Andy came up from Tennessee looking for work. We both came up. That was better than 20 years ago. Went to work for Bolin, and then when they started it up, they put him in Section C. 6 years ago, he takes sick. And my Andy passes away.
Did you tell Dr. Duffy what your husband died of, Mrs. Mayhew?
Cancer in his lungs.
What's going on? We're trying to get Dr. Duffy to help us out.
Kramer, you keep pulling people into this thing without thinking about all the possibilities. Not everybody looks at this thing in the same way. I think you ought to know that.
Mr. Brody, my husband is sick. And you're all right. You work here in the union. But he works at Bolin, and he's coughing up his blood.
Nobody's stopping anybody from doing anything legitimate in this hall. But you ought to think twice.
Mrs. Mayhew, is your husband under a doctor's care?
Yes.
Did this doctor explain anything to you about your husband's illness?
He said he had cancer, cell cancer.
Cell cancer.
That's what he called it.
Did he by any chance call it oat cell?
Yes. That's what he said. Oat cell. I remember it because it seemed so harmless. But it killed him.
Terry Donovan. Died in a hospital in Washington State where his daughter lives. Took a lot of digging to get that.
And Donovan is number 10 on the list.
Check the biopsy report. Oat cell cancer. Man worked in Section C for 12 years.
Doc, it's your nurse. She says it's important.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Doris. I know, I'm late for the board meeting, right? Call Dr. Freeman, tell him I'll meet him at the hospital in 15 or 20 minutes, okay? I'm leaving right away. Right.
Doc, do I have that cancer? Tell me the truth.
There's no evidence of that right now, Mike. You have anemia. Nothing else.
But I can get it, right?
What do you want from me? Immunity from cancer? I can't give you that. Nobody can.
Looks like we're on our own.
Slow down, man. Come on, slow down. I never saw you like this.
There must be information on this DNMB. Chemical properties, effects, so on. Come on, Ben. Check it out for me, will you?
Okay, but slow down.
We now have medical records on almost every one of the 15 people dead. 13 had cancer, oat cell variety, 2 had squamous cell. Those statistics are suspicious. And if the Willis bronchoscopy turns out to show his mass to be oat cell, look out.
Frank, something is going on.
What do you mean?
Well, I got chewed out by Milt Stern's office for going through those deceased files without his administrative permission.
That's ridiculous.
And remember, you asked me to call our Sister of Mercy to get a doctor's name on that death certificate.
Right.
My friend Cutler, now the resident over there, says that he got put on the carpet for that.
I don't get it.
Somebody up there doesn't like you snooping around, Frank. Maybe you're getting in a little over your head.
Okay, tell me what's happening.
No change. Not much, anyway. I want you to check into the hospital Wednesday night so we can get to work first thing Thursday morning, okay?
And what if it's at Oak Cell?
Hey, easy. Take it easy. Excuse me. Yeah?
Dr. Carlisle's on the phone. Says it's urgent.
Hello, Harry. You know, I had a feeling I'd be hearing from you.
Could you come over and meet Roger Graham, our executive vice president? Raj, Frank here suspects some industrial hazards in Section C.
I've been executive vice president in charge of this plant for more than 7 years, and on your hospital board for almost 5, Doctor, and I've never once heard about hazards in Section C. Where does this information come from?
People at the union who feel that there's a problem?
Union? Are you working with the union, Doctor?
Absolutely not. And yes, I realize they may have an axe to grind. But on purely medical grounds, Mr. Graham, that grinding may be valid.
We haven't had a work-related death in over 2 years here, Frank.
Harry, in Section C, you've got over 100 people who work there for more years than that, breathing in whatever could be hurting them. Now, if inhaling DNMD is the problem, those people are walking time bombs.
I'd advise you, Doctor, not to go around saying that.
All right, friend and no friend, Frank, you just simply don't know what you're talking about here. And we do. Let me tell you something. You are being used by a few troublemakers.
This is a study we had made by the Danville Research Group.
Danville found, Frank, after a 5-year test period, that we had less than 3% mortality from any cause whatsoever.
"11 people died since this report.
That's right. 11 people. Read the report, Frank. It predicts that out of the 125 studied.
This is not the only report we did. We had another one done by Haskins University, no less.
We manufacture DNNB. That's our product. And in making it, we get a byproduct we call CNNB. Now, when Danville finished his study, we weren't satisfied, so...
So we went to Haskins School of Environmental Medicine and had them do biochemical tests on that substance.
They found CNNB was no more dangerous than 1,000 other chemical combinations.
And we sent that report to the Labor Department in Washington.
Listen, Frank. 15 people died from smoking too much, from breathing the bad air we have in this town. Maybe their grandparents both had cancer. Frank, we've seen malignancy hit from 100 differing conditions, haven't we?
I'm sorry. I'd like to read this Danville report, but I expect I'm going to feel like more of a damn fool than I do now. Harry? The suspicions are wrong. Nothing in Section C is responsible for the cancer or the deaths. The statistics are perfectly normal.
It's good news. It's very good news. Thanks for finding that out, Doc.
But, Doc, 13 people kicked off from Oat Cell.
I know. The factory is not to blame.
Doc, excuse me. Where does what I've got, this anemia, come from?
Powers, I'm not God. I don't have the answer to questions like that.
Dr. Duffy, call 306. Dr. Frank Duffy, call 306.
My older brother, he's starting to cough bad. He works in C.
Look, I have to go. I'm being paged.
Oh, Frank, can I talk to you a minute?
Can it wait, Milt? I'm on a page.
I would just sent to advise you that this is a hospital, not a place for union meetings.
What are you saying, Milt?
That this place is called Boland Hospital. Remember? What's the matter with you lately, anyhow?
I'm trying to check out the report. I'm sure it's a waste of time.
So what? You took an action, you tried.
And managed to make a complete fool of myself.
You went with your feelings, you did what you felt was right. That's hardly foolish.
Except I was wrong, and the story will get around, and I might even lose my place on the board over this.
And there's no margin for error on this board, folks.
No, not when your mistake stirs up a lot of trouble.
Trouble for who? Nobody's hurt. Frank, how can you possibly know, going in, whether you're going to turn out to be right or wrong?
You don't. That's why it's best not to go looking for trouble in the first place.
You weren't looking for anything except the truth. Can't a doctor do that and still remain on the sacrosanct hospital board?
No. Not when the name on the hospital door says Boland. Hello.
Dr. Duff.
Who is this?
Tim Kramer. Listen, I'm over at the union. Could you come over right away?
No, I cannot, Kramer.
Look, Doc, you got to. Doc, they lied to you. They hung you out to dry.
What are you talking about?
The report, Doc. It's filled with phony names. This is the list of names the company gave Dr. Danville. 125 people.
That was a sample. 125.
But this list was supposed to be made up of people from Section C only, right?
Yes, right.
But the bums didn't do that, though.
You see, this list is made up of people who worked all over the entire plant, in every section that they owned. They stacked the deck. We'll show you. Reynolds, let me have the pay record, will you?
It's all here.
Okay. Okay, here are the shop steward records, going back to 1960. They give the job names and the grades of where the guys worked. Here.
Tell them how it stacks up, Tim. Tell them.
Here are the 125 people on the Danville list. Only a third of them ever worked in C at any time at all. That's right. Only 44 people. 1/3. All the rest never worked in C. Never.
Only those names checked off. And the rest are lies.
See, they gave that Danville group the names of people who never worked in C. And that's why they never came out with a report.
This is hard to believe.
Come on, Doc, get off the white horse. I mean, where you been living? This is all true. And Boland figures by now it's all down the road. And by now, no one even knows what happened way back then. But we know. Now we know.
Harry!
Hi, Frank. What are you doing out here?
Waiting for you?
Oh, why don't you come on in?
I'd rather speak to you away from your office. The Danville report was loaded with totally phony names, Harry.
Phony, what do you mean?
They studied 125 people, right?
Yeah.
Well, only 44 of that 125 ever worked in Section C. You know what that means, Harry? The death rate in Section C is 3 times higher than you people claim. 9%, not 3%.
Where'd you get your figures, Frank?
You deny them, Harry?
Frank, when I first came to Bowen here, the Danville study had already been completed. Now, I knew there'd been trouble here. Of course, that's why they made the studies in the first place.
Harry, men were coughing their guts out.
Well, don't you think we were concerned every time a problem came up like that?
A problem?
Yeah, that's right.
Don't give me that corporate double talk, Harry. It wasn't a problem. It was a death. It may even turn out to be murder.
Hey, come on now, Frank. That's... that's a pretty serious charge, death.
Prove me wrong, Harry. Please.
Well, you know, you gotta remember now, this is all new to me, Frank. I mean, I've never... all right, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me get back to Raj with this one because maybe he'll, you know...
Make sure he knows that no one has survived. I repeat, no one. After 20 months of diagnosis of cancer, every single one of them has been dead. So every person working in Section C is in danger each time he walks through that door. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have patients waiting for me in my office.
I always said it, Frank. Crusading's a full-time job.
He knows you're waiting, sir, but... Doctor will see you now, sir.
Well, I was hoping Harry Carlisle would show up, not you. But he's been unavailable for 3 days.
Duffy, for a man in your position, you've embarked on a course of dangerous and totally irresponsible actions. I want to make that clear to you.
Irresponsible? You just saw Ralph Willis. Tomorrow morning he goes in for a bronchoscopy. The odds are he's going to have oat cell carcinoma. Just like the others in Section C.
You made serious allegations to Carlisle about the Danville study. You, implied fraud of some kind?
I asked questions. I think Carlisle's disappearance these past few days has answered them.
The Danville study was done a long time ago. It's highly possible that some mistakes might have been made in the listings.
Mistakes? Look, I've been a fool long enough, Graham. Don't compound it now.
Well, there was confusion then. We were concerned. We wanted to get the study underway as quickly as possible, but I assure you, we made absolutely no attempt at deception. That would have been ridiculous.
Not ridiculous. Criminal.
Duffy, I'm warning you.
My God, man, the whole report was a fraud. Who the hell do you think you're dealing with?
I'll tell you who. Some self-appointed hero who wants us to close down Section C with millions and millions invested simply because of some half-baked theory.
It's not half-baked, and it's no longer a theory. It's a hard-nosed, irrefutable fact. And you know it as well as I do.
Okay, Duffy. Just give us some time.
Time? Don't you understand there is no more time? If Ralph Willis turns out to have oat cell cancer, I'm going to write articles for newspapers, for medical journals. I'm going to send telegrams to HEW, to the Labor Department, and anyone else who will help expose this deliberate slaughter.
You'd better be 100% sure you've got solid evidence, Duffy. This is not about colds and sniffles.
No, it's not. It's about people who are dying, slowly, and who don't even know it. Now, Graham, get the hell out of my office. you people who work in Section C should notify your physicians and have them keep a very close watch on you.
Watch? What are they gonna watch? I've been in C 12 years.
But what can we do, Doc? You say Boland won't listen to you, no matter what.
The company's responsible. They've got to be made to accept that.
Okay, so they accept it. They close down C indefinitely. That means they gotta close B, they gotta close D, and they gotta close half of G. That's terrific. 800 jobs down the drain. Then what are you gonna do?
Well, I'll just quit before I cough myself to death.
Sure, Annie. Sure, you'll quit. You can find another job. I've got 22 years with Boland. And at my age, where do I go?
We could call a strike and see.
Go ahead. Pull a wildcat. Push him. You push them too far, and they're gonna close down here and go someplace else.
Either way, we're dead.
Well, you can't blame yourself for that, Frank. You committed yourself to a good cause.
What have I accomplished? Managed to frighten a lot of good people by telling them they're going to die of oat cell cancer?
Is that wrong?
Yeah, it's wrong. There isn't one single thing those people can do about it. People live with enough fear without my adding to it. Hello?
Hey, Frank, it's Ben. I run you out of town yet?
Ben.
Listen, I finally got my hands on the Haskins report on the CNNB, and I think I found something here that just might grab you.
Incredible. Incredible. The study wasn't a mistake. Couldn't have been. It was absolute deliberate deception.
Oh, Dr. Duffy, I'll tell Dr. Carlisle that...
Hey, Frank, I never got back to you simply because I thought it'd be better to work from the inside here, you know.
You're lying.
Oh, come on now, Frank. Don't...
Harry, will you stop it and look at yourself? You realize how cheap you sold out? For this, Harry, you let men die.
I had the same information you had, Frank. The same information. The Danville study. And any mistakes in that can be laid to unwitting error.
Danville's only part of the cover-up. Let's talk about the Haskins report, Harry.
Yeah, all right, let's do. Let's talk about the Haskins report, Frank. We sent that off to the Labor Department, and they said CNNB was as safe as anything.
You didn't send the entire report, did you? You sent an abstract of it.
Well, that's accepted practice.
No, it's not. When it's a lie, it's not acceptable. In that abstract, you left out one crucial experiment they did. The main event. The original report shows that Haskins put experimental animals into a sealed room. Healthy animals, Harry. Then they allowed a minute percentage of CNNB to pollute the atmosphere in that room in exactly the way it pollutes Section C. And every one of those animals developed cancer of the lung. Oat cell cancer, Harry. And that you left out of the report. Harry, a lot of people in Section C are sure as hell gonna get lung cancer. And every one of them is gonna die. Don't you care? Doesn't that twist your guts into knots, Harry? You called me holy? I'm not that. I'm scared. Because I had a very narrow escape. You and I grew up together. We came out of the same mold. And that scares me, Harry. Because there, but for the grace of God, go I. And that would kill me.
I told you not to talk to him without me here.
Excuse me. He knows about the Haskins abstract.
Duffy, the company doesn't want any conflicts with you.
That's too bad. Because I'm sending this wire to HEW, reporting the 15, now 16 deaths in Section C, counting Willis.
Ralph Willis died in a car accident.
Caused by a disease he inhaled right here in this factory.
Duffy, like everybody else, I have priorities. I have a responsibility to this company. We have all kinds of industrial problems.
Now death is just another one, right?
All right, Duffy. We're prepared to close down Section C and modify it the best way anybody knows how. People who are working there now will be moved to other sections. Nobody loses their job. In return, all we ask is that no letters or telegrams be sent to anybody. No articles written or published. No publicity at all.
No publicity, huh? You're beautiful. What are you doing? Stiffing the workers out of their compensation?
We accept no responsibility.
You already have. Closing C, you're admitting it's a death trap.
We're admitting nothing of the kind. We're making changes, that's all. The past is gone. We'll just have to forget it.
It's another cover-up.
No. It's the only compromise we can live with.
Reducing lung cancer to dollars and cents? Is that where it's at? Is that what it's come to? Accepting industrial death as a fact of life?
No. And that's why Bolin is closing down Section C tomorrow.
There's only one trouble with that. Tomorrow is 10 years too late.
It looks like you really made it happen, Frank.
I bet they make C the safest building they've got.
Yeah, but they won't pay a dime to the dead and dying.
Oh, it's still a victory, darling. At least there won't be any more dead and dying in there.
You come to keep him honest, Doc?
I'm gonna try like hell, Kramer.
Hey, thanks, Doc. Just thanks.
We gave it to him good, eh, Doc?
What can I tell you? You did a terrific thing here.
Just the beginning, Mike. Just the beginning.
Price, extension 22271. Code red, 3 south. Dr.